Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start the presentation, first let me introduce myself. My name is Difa Fitriani, and I'm very delightful and very happy that I could get this opportunity to be able to do this presentation online to you, to Miss Fatima. I hope you enjoy my presentation. For today's presentation, I will make a presentation about the COVID-19 situation in Indonesia. And let's get started. This is the topic outline, as we can see in the slide 2. For this chapter, I divided the subchapter into 3, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. In the introduction, there is the definition of COVID, the origin of COVID, the symptoms, prevention, and the total case of COVID in the world. And then we will get into the body, where I will be talking about the total cases of the Indonesian one, the government rules, regulation, types of quarantine, how the COVID-19 affect the society as a whole, and the last one, conclusion and some suggestions. Now I will explain to you about COVID-19. What is COVID? COVID-19 or coronavirus disease is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. The virus spread when it is transmitted through direct contact from the infected person by droplet, coughing or sneezing, and even by touching the same surface that's been contaminated with the virus. How can this happen? And how did it all started? In December 1st, it is the earliest of the symptom that is found on site back in Wuhan, China. And then a month later, December 29, the Wuhan hospital reports that they have several patients with phenomena of unknown etymology. And then the etiology is found out that it is from the coronavirus. So from December 1 till January 17, the first case was reported in China, and then there has been outbreak of the coronavirus. It then first started to spread to Thailand, and then it spread to Japan, and then to Korea. In January 18 till January 24, the first cases appear in USA and Europe, and China also doing several quarantine in several provinces. In January 25th till January 31st, the case appear in many more countries, and there's also been travel ban spread. In 2nd February, the first case of positive cases of coronavirus arrived in Jakarta, Indonesia. From February 8 till February 14, the death toll of this coronavirus surpasses the of SARS, and WHO led team going to China to help fix the outbreak. And then in the February 15 till February 21st, outbreaks happened in Iran and also in Italy and South Korea, and there are also more deaths outside of mainland China. And then in February 21st till the March 13, a fifth of all students all around the world are out of school, and outbreaks still increase until now. Next, I will tell you about the symptoms of the COVID-19. The symptoms of the virus are very similar with influenza, such as fever, sneezing, and shortness of breath. And I have categorized it into 3 symptoms: the most common one, less common, and the most serious one. For the less common, it have ache, sore throat, diarrhea, headache, and loss of taste or smell. For the most common one, that is similar with influenza, which are fever, dry cough, and tiredness. And for the most serious symptom, there is difficulty of breath or shortness of breath, chest pain or pressure, and also loss of speech or movement. To avoid catching up the virus, there are several key measures, such as the first one, wearing masks when we go out and not going out if it is not necessary. The second is covering our mouth and nose with flex elbow or tissue when we are coughing and sneezing, and at least keep a meter distance with other people and avoid close contact with people or anyone who has flu or cold system. And to know if we have the coronavirus, there are 2 types of tests. The first one is the test swab, and the second one is the rapid test. And this is data as of today, as of 12 May 2020. There are 4.8048 billion cases confirmed all around the world, and there's also been 223,153 confirmed deaths, and there have been 215 countries, areas, or territories with confirmed cases of COVID-19. And now let's move on to the body of this presentation. I will now tell you about the COVID-19 situation in Indonesia and how Indonesia deals with the COVID-19 situation. This is the number of cases that has happened in Indonesia. COVID first emerged in Indonesia back in the 2nd February of 2020, and the first confirmed death occurred on patient 25. Since then, the virus spread fast and infects a lot of people daily. The first case was in Jakarta, but now it is confirmed. There is 14,794 of confirmed cases, and there is 1,007 confirmed deaths, and a number of 3,063 of confirmed healed cases. To deal with the situation, since also the number of positive cases also been going up a lot back in March. On March 31st, our President Jokowi finally declared a COVID-19 public health emergency. The government issued government regulation number 21 2020 that said large-scale social distancing or PSBB as an implementing regulation of the 2018 health quarantine law to restrict the movement of people and goods within a zone. One of the biggest regulation that the government have made during this COVID-19 situation is the large-scale social restriction that is based on the regulation above, and it is also called PSBB. PSBB includes the closure of schools, workplace, restriction on religious activity, and restriction on activity in public places. But sadly, till now, not everyone obeyed this regulation, since it is really hard for the workplace to completely shut down. So they are still ongoing, but they are using shift to lessen the human contact. Why did Jakarta become the first city that implemented in the PSBB? It all first started in 10 April, almost 2 weeks before President Jokowi declared an emergency situation. Back in 10 April, Jakarta already implemented the PSBB system and is now still ongoing till now. Why? Because the Jakarta becomes the epicentrum of COVID-19 in Indonesia and contribute to almost 50% to the total cases of Indonesia. So that's why Jakarta became the first city that implemented the PSBB. It is stipulated in the health quarantine law. There are 3 types of quarantine, which are home quarantine, which means staying at home and distancing from people. The second one is hospital quarantine for confirmed cases, and the last one is regional quarantine. The regional quarantine means measure border restriction in specific areas. Under the public health emergency measure, the central governments do allow regional administration to make a request to close their borders, but not for large-scale areas, and were only to be imposed only in smaller areas. Now we will talk about the sanction. The government regulation on large-scale social distancing or PSBB stipulate there is no legal consequence for violator. But the president stressed that the national police could take legal steps against anyone violating the rules under PSBB. People could be charged with a criminal offense if they do violate the rule of the PSBB based on Article 93 of the health quarantine law, which can make them face a max 1 year of imprisonment or 100 million fine. Next up, we will talk about how the COVID-19 situation affects the society. The first is the number of termination of employee spiked up a lot during this pandemic. Why? Because a lot of people are terminated and was let go by their company or was been PHK in Indonesia by their jobs because simply their jobs could not afford to pay them again. Then the second one, we will talk about the no mudik probation. During Ramadan this year, which happened right now, the government clearly said and clearly banned mudik to avoid people mobilization in hope to minimize the damage of the COVID-19. And the last one is the closing down of restaurants, shopping malls, schools, and other public area. School was closed down since back in March, and students have been doing online learning, such as what I'm doing right now, for the past 2 months. Stores such as food and beverage is open, but only for delivery and takeaway, and not for dine-in. Shopping malls are also closed down, and other public area that includes public activity is also closed down. And for that reason, a lot of people are also staying at home, and it affects the society a lot since it affects the society and on how the society do what they usually do, but now they are doing it at home, or mostly they are doing it their jobs, their school online. Now I'm going to end this presentation with the last subchapter, which is the conclusion and the suggestion. We need to obey what the government tells us to do, and so the quarantine and the whole pandemic could end if we all do our best to minimize the amount of infected cases. Staying at home, studying via online, and social distancing may be boring for now and also could get stressful, but will make a difference if we are doing it together. The more patient we are, the faster this whole situation would end. So, stay healthy, both mentally and physically are also important. And if we do have the most common, or if we have symptoms, we should self-isolate. And if we have serious symptoms, seek for help and go to the hospital. To cope with the whole situation, we should make ourselves happy and do some productive things, and also help the government, because the government could be doing all of these things and it will not make any difference if us as a citizen do not help them. So stay safe this quarantine. Thank you.